My father, my grandmother took me to church. My mother and my stepfather were very, very abusive, physically abusive, especially my stepfather. I think I went into victim mode when I was young, and so everything I blamed on everybody else, and instead of getting help, I turned to different things. When I was young, it was drinking, but I stopped drinking when I turned 18. I got married. I had my first son at age 27 and my second son at age 29. And I got divorced from my first husband after 13 years of marriage and after we had the 2 kids. Like 3 or 4 years later, I got remarried. Was with my second husband for 10 years. He was in addiction. I was a baseball mom. I went to every practice, every game. My other son was guitar, so I went to every guitar practice, everything. Then I got separated from my second husband, and I met a younger man, and he liked methamphetamines. And I started doing meth with him. My boys moved on and went to college, so they never, thank God, was never in my home when I did it. Of course, I blamed everything on my mother and my stepfather. Even as an adult, and I was in my 40s when I went into addiction, everything was my mother's fault. She's the reason I did it, to numb all the pain, instead of seeking counseling or seeking God, because I had not gone to church since I was young. And so instead of seeking God, I didn't even know what a relationship was with God. So I went into addiction. I went hardcore. I started sleeping around. I defiled my body. I defiled myself. I lost friends. I lost family. I stole from friends. I stole from family. I did what it took to get the drug, because now the drug took over my life. I went for 2 years without getting to see my grandkids. On February 20th, 2023, I had been living on the streets in Springfield. I had been living under bridges and sheds. I would sleep with somebody to have a place to stay, and I had gotten to where I had nothing. I absolutely had nothing. I had no family. I had no friends. I had nothing. I had opened up this book to write my kids a letter to tell them goodbye, because I was gonna figure out a way to end my life that day. I didn't know how, but it was gonna happen. And I opened this book, and it said Mary, and it had her name. And I called her, and she said, well, I know this lady named Juliet. And she said, let me call her. And I said, okay. So Juliet called me, and she said, what are you willing to do to change your life? And I said, anything. And she said, are you a smoker? And I said, yeah, for about 30 years. And she said, this is a non-smoking program. And I said, I do not care. I don't care. I just want my life changed. And she said, okay. She said, I'll be there in about an hour. And then Mary ended up picking me up, and I met Juliet in Mount Vernon. And when I got out of the car, Juliet said, she put her hands on her hips, and she said, I already love you. And she gave me the biggest hug, and I just started crying. I didn't know who this woman was. My family has been restored. My grandchild, both my grandchildren, I get to see them all the time, but my grandson, he spends the night with me every single weekend. I became the house manager after only being there 3 months. Juliet calls that leading while bleeding. 2 weeks before I became the house manager, my sister was murdered. My house manager told me, he said, you need to call your son. And I said, I'm not going to call my son. And so she said, I'm going to call him for you. And then Dallas got on the phone, and he said my sister had been murdered. She had been stabbed to death. And if anybody around here knowing Juliet, she has a hard testimony. And she had lost her son. And when she tells her testimony, which I had heard in that 3 months, I had heard several times going with her to places, she has a no matter what moment. And she hit her knees in a parking lot and said, I'm going to praise you no matter what. And I started screaming at Juliet, "Is this my no matter what? Is this my no matter what?" And she said, "I'm so sorry, it is." And so I hit my knees in the playground and I said, I'm going to praise you no matter what. And so I became a house manager. I've been with Juliet and been the house manager now for 2.5 years. It'll be 3 years in February. And I listen and I pay attention to God. He has become my best friend. And I always tell everybody, God saved my life, but Juliet introduced me to him in a way I'd never known him. And it's amazing. And so here I am.